Hi students, I just want to take a few moments today to talk to you about some APA formatting basics. What we're going to be addressing is how your paper should look if it's following APA, American Psychological Association style. This includes margins, indentation, headers and headings, things of that nature. There's a specific look that every paper should have. So let's see what that is. Every paper starts out with a title page. It could also be known as a cover page. It has a header. The left header has the words running head and a colon, and then the title of the page in all caps. The right-hand side has the page number. The title page is the first page of the paper. Note that only the number is used. Not the word page, not P period, but just the number of the page. Then, centered in the middle of your title page should be 5 items. Now, you can't quite see it on the slide, but it really should be centered in the middle of the page. And those things that you want to have are the title of the paper, the student's name, your name, the course number, like COM 156, the due date of the assignment, and your professor's name. Let's say that in our example, a student is doing a paper on recycling and decided to just call it recycling. That title page might look like this. Notice that the title, recycling, is in all caps in the running head in the upper left, and that in the identification block, it's double spaced and in upper and lower case. The title of the paper, recycling, the student's name, in our example, Jim Jones, the class number, course number, COM 156, due date of the assignment, January 6th, and the name of the professor, Sally Martin. Now that's how you would set up your title page. Let's look how you would set up your first page of text. Continuing to use our example of a paper on recycling, you'll notice that the header changes slightly with page 2. No longer are the words running head there. They no longer appear, just the title in all caps. Then, some lines down from the header, you have, again, the title of the paper. This time, it's centered. It's no longer the header. It's considered the title itself. And it's centered in the middle of the page. And it's in upper and lower case. And notice that it's just in plain print. There's no bolding, just plain. By the way, when you're doing APA style, there are certain fonts you should use. Either Arial, Times New Roman, or Courier New. You should never combine fonts within a paper. You keep to one font and to one font size, and that's 0.12. That's within the text. Within the header, you'd probably have you may have a slightly smaller font size, though really you should also try to keep that at 12 point as well. Now, you'll notice that when doing the paragraph, it's not a block paragraph, but the first line of each paragraph is indented. And it's indented a certain amount. It's called 1 tab width, which usually translates to 5 spaces. Okay? You'll also notice something else. The paper is double spaced. It's not single spaced. Another thing you'll notice that between paragraphs there's only one line. Okay? It's not single spaced between paragraphs. There's a double space and then the next paragraph. In this case, okay, it's double spaced to the main heading that we have, and then double spaced again to the double spaced line to the first paragraph. we do have a heading, as I started to mention. A main heading appears this way. It's centered on the page, it's bolded, and it is in upper and lower case. One thing you'll also notice is that in our example, we have some bulleted text. When using bullets in APA style, be careful that you use real bullet points if you are just listing a number of items. If there was a specific order in which those items should appear, okay, a chronological order to them, then instead of the bullets, you would number them. But unless there's an order, they should only be bullets. One thing that's particularly hard for students in APA style, and I'll mention it here, is that you're not supposed to use contractions. For example, if you look at the second paragraph, the second line, it says, looking at the three most important, they are. It doesn't say, looking at the three most important, they're, the contraction they are, for they are. It spells out they are. Okay? And that's something to remember. You do not use contractions when formatting a paper in APA style. Avoid those. So, let's recap a little about formatting a paper in APA style. Don't forget, you should always double space your paper's text. Indent the first line of a paragraph. And again, it should only be one tab stop. An error I see many students make is that they make a very long, have a very big indent for that first line. It should only be one tab stop, and that's about 5 spaces. You should use 12-point font, Arial, Times New Times Roman, or Courier New. Do not use a combination of fonts. Use only one of them and be consistent throughout your paper. And that's the next bullet point. Be consistent with your font. One other thing that we didn't mention is that you will use normal type. You do not bold words within the text of your paper. There's no bolding of text in the paper. The only time you use bolding is for instance, a heading. Okay. The title of your paper should be at the top of the page below the header, and it should be centered. But again, it'll appear in normal type. Main headings, however, are upper and lower case and bolded. They are also centered on the paper. And finally, I know it's difficult, but avoid contractions in your text. Not they're important, but they are important. Okay. That's a look at APA formatting and taking care and the things you have to think about when typing up your papers. There's more on that in the Center for Writing Excellence. In fact, if you look under the Library tab, the Center of Writing Excellence, you will find that under the APA information, there's actually a formatting checklist. So you might check that out. Now, you have some assignments to do, so let's get started.